Welcome to DevSecOps Talks with Paulina.
Matthias?
Andre. Hey. Did you know that Matthias have a book?
It's not out yet, but it's in the prints, right? So
When is it coming?
I don't know.
What is the book? Is it biography or something?
I wish, like, I was survived like 3 years of podcast with Andre Scott. No. It's Ubuntu in 30 days, so it works. So the publisher reached out and they have like, I think, to do some marketing and see like where there are gaps that they can fill with books. So
that
you can't
sounds
come
like
up
a biography.
They come up with like a decent book, and then you can like write you think it should be about, and then you get it approved or not, and then it's a long way of writing books.
But you're all the way through, and soon enough we will be able to get it in print.
Yes, hope so. Yeah, took a long time.
Is it in English?
Yeah, English.
Oh, then you should buy it.
I can. You can get a signed copy, Paulina, when I meet you. Right?
We should have a photo of you on LinkedIn page of the show.
Yeah.
With the book when it comes.
Promotion, yeah.
Promotion, yeah.
On the background.
Yeah, it's other fun stuff. I need to sign up for like Amazon author page, right? Those sort of things, because it would be probably on Amazon. So then I need to have a page on Amazon, like as an author. Anyhow, that's not why we are here, right? Because we have something else to discuss.
So what are we talking today about?
About my laptop trying to die.
Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't happen during the recording.
But are you still using Intel Mac?
Yes.
Okay. Then,
but there is a lot of stuff running on it at the same time, so it kind of explains it. And I believe it's Crisp, which is a noise cancellation thingy.
Yeah.
That is killing it right now, it's according to Activity Monitor.
Yeah, it's almost like also a little bit delay now in the video, I can see.
Yeah, that's the first sign that I'm in a trouble. I'm like closing stuff here. Anyhow, let's try to dive in. And today the idea is to talk about security implications of MCPs.
What is MCP then?
I think we should start from giving a little bit more of the background to people, like not even starting with MCP. But I don't remember when was our last podcast.
I think it was 2 weeks ago about
secure secrets and so on.
Yeah.
Back to basics.
Okay. Anyhow, let's establish a little bit of foundation so we would talk on the same level and we don't confuse each other. We had end of 2022, ChatGPT comes out. We will not go all the way back to the white paper about the transformers and so on. But when the ChatGPT came out, there was like a toy, right? You could chat with it, but it couldn't do much more. And I like analogy is like working with LLM is like talking to your 90 years old grandpa who is very knowledgeable. He is not up to date with the latest development. It can answer your question, but like after the 5th question or follow-up, it kind of forgets where he started, and he can just keep going. It's kind of like that. So if you're trying to use LLM in production or any kind of deployment, you should understand that it's not deterministic, and it would be like having 90 years old grandpa trying to do things for you.
Yeah.
And in some cases, he might be really good, but in some cases, not. Anyhow, originally there was more chat, and you couldn't do much. And it had its cutoff day when the training was finished, so it had no latest events in memory or like in the
true.
LLM. But then the chat providers, or like foundational models providers, they figure out that they can give tools to the LLM. And I think that was quite a big breakthrough. Tools allows LLM to use external sources of information or do something.
Yes.
The first tool that kind of was seen in the public and was widely used was search. So, for instance, you can use Brave API to implement the search functionality and provide it as a tool to LLM. And if you're using stuff like Bedrock, for instance, to run it, there is like a capability to add tools, and then your LLM will be able to call your function that will call the Brave API. Brave API returns some results, and then those results fed back to LLM so it can extend its knowledge. But it's not limited only to the search, so it could do more stuff. Like, for instance, LLMs are not very good in math because they're guessing the number instead of actually doing the actual math. So you can write another function in, for instance, Python, and use Python math model to actually reliably calculate and do the math and arrive to the right answer. And you can give it as a tool to the LLM, and then like when you do deep research, you can notice that it would, like for instance, deep research in ChatGPT, it could say, I'm using Python to do this. That's another tool. So they're providing the access to the Python interpreter to the LLM, and then the LLM can write some code and run it and get the answers.
No, now it's a lot of things, right? So you're saying like you have the LLM, which is your 90-year-old grandfather, and then you give him the ability to query, like go on the internet and fetch some data.
Yeah.
That is then processed and give you.
Yeah.
Right?
So you can tell the grandpa, look, grandpa.
Yeah.
Here's Google. You can use it. Like if I ask you something you don't know, ask Google, and he can go and check the Google for you.
It's perfect, right?
Then it will interpret whatever he sees in Google. And again, he's like a grandpa who never used Google, so he will basically trust the first links that come up. Exactly the same thing. So he will not apply any kind of critical judgment there. Whatever comes up first, he will run with it.
He will run it, yeah.
So there is a lot of hallucinations in it. I lately was, give me my schedule, my how do you call it, competition plan for the rest of this year. So it was checking dates even of the competition from previous years without checking what year is it. So yeah, that's just one of the examples of outdated stuff. So it doesn't really do the too deep research.
It's actually another tool. So since the grandpa is like 90 years old, he doesn't need to go to work every day. So he's not very good at tracking time. And when you ask him, he has no idea what today is. Like you would expect it to, but he kind of have no idea, and like even the year. Like so, then what people do, they give LLM another tool. It's like check current time, like get current date, and then LLM can query the tool to understand what the date today, and then do all the other queries based on that knowledge.
You're expanding the LLM's knowledge about the world, more or less, right?
Yeah, basically you give it ways to get different pieces of information in a reliable way. It could be also a part of the system prompt. I mean, like your prompt that you're sending to LLM. You could say, well, today is this day, and do all the other actions based on it if LLM doesn't have access to the data. So the tools are very useful, and usually people call LLM with the tools an agent, because that's LLM that can do something for you. Since if it can write Python, then it could also access file system, right? You can give a tool that allows LLM to write to file system or read from file system. If you use LLM in your coding editor, that's exactly what it does. It reads and writes from the file system. But then you depend on the tools provided to you by the provider. For instance, if you use Amazon QCLI Developer, super long name, we will just gonna call it QCLI.
Yeah.
And if you run it and say like /tools, show me your tools, it will show you that it has read file system, write file system, use AWS, and there is few more. Like run shell commands, but there will be like 5 or 6 tools that only have built-in available to the system, to the LLM inside the Amazon QCLI. So how do you extend that? Like, imagine you wanna access more systems, and this is where MCP come in.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna drop my camera off because it's not going very well with a CPU load on my end and memory consumption and everything.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so back to MCPs.
So you were saying like LLM, they have some built-in tools, but you want to expand them with more tools so they can.
LLM itself doesn't have tools, but you get LLM in the package.
Yeah.
Right. When you run it, especially like when you run it locally, it might be part of your IDE as an extension to Visual Studio Code, or it might be a cursor. It comes with its own tools.
Yes.
You might run Cloud Code. Again, that's like a CLI utility that comes with the tools. Like Cloud Desktop comes with its own set of tools. Now, OpenAI released Codex, it comes with the tools. So that package that you interact with, that will call LLM and then that package, that proxy, has some tools available for LLM to call.
Cool.
So it can interact, for instance, with your machine, which is one of the most interesting aspects of it. But the set of tools, as I said, is limited because it depends on what provider gave you. And MCP is a Model Context Protocol. Stands for, you can Google that, there is a specification online, and idea is that you run a server that would communicate in a LLM friendly way, and that server knows how to query a certain system or do something. So you kind of provide in REST API, if you like, for LLM. Or another way to think about it as a plugin for Jenkins. Right? So Jenkins itself has no idea how to communicate with your Jira.
Yeah.
But you can install Jira plugin, and then Jenkins can do something with your Jira. It's exactly the same thing here. First iteration of MCP protocol were based on the fact that you will run it locally. So you will run server locally. LLM will interact via std.io with it. And then the server will call the system and return whatever information that was asked. MCP server will handle authentication, which is kind of nice since your LLM has no credentials. It cannot log in unless you're using browser use. That's another tool available for LLM. But if you don't have that tool available for the package, then LLM cannot do that. And MCP can log in for you. It can handle credentials, and it knows about APIs of the system and an efficient way of utilizing it. Because, like for instance, when you do search today with OpenAI, like ChatGPT and stuff, it's very, very inefficient the way they do it. And the way LLMs like interact with the web and the tools is very inefficient because like it's the first time they see it, and they will just go and poke around. And MCP is a way to provide rails for it to do it more efficiently and get the information needed. And also MCP server will advertise to the model what can it do, like what tools it provides.
Is this something? Are MCPs like? So, for example, if I have a service with data, do I need like a MCP so that other LLM can connect to my MCP and get the data I have in a friendly way? Say that.
So there is like a lot of talk about MCP in the agentic scope of it. right?
Yeah.
So like you will have agents that will communicate between
Exactly.
systems and do things.
Yeah.
It's still to be seen if it's a good idea, because remember, you asking your 90 years old grandpa to go and book your trip and pay for it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
would you do that?
But now, so MC, when I think about MCP, I think like, okay, maybe I should do MCP with all the recipes in the world, right? Then like an LLM can go and find the recipe that it can really make.
MCP calls something behind.
Oh yeah, and then find it. But can I also do the change, right?
Well,
like,
it depends. So it depends what your MCP server wants. So you define
Depends
that.
what you give it access also.
Yeah.
So we kind of now have a picture of what MCPs are and how LLMs interact with the tools.
Yeah.
But now I want to bring your attention to another aspect of our life, and that's PDF files. Oh, I forgot to mention that, there is a new specification for MCP that allows MCP to be hosted, and then LLMs can interact with them via the HTTP protocol, and then you can scale it out a little bit, because before that you would have to run MCP server locally, right? And then like you have to run your LLM tool and then your MCP on the same host. It doesn't really scale for production deployments, but like with MCP hosted over HTTP, like you're getting somewhere, so you can distribute the load. But what we also should understand that all the information returned by MCP will be interpreted by LLM. So LLM will read it and it will try to act on it.
Yeah.
And we've been doing that for a long time, actually. Like if you hear the word interpreter, and you are in security, usually all the red light goes on, because it's very, very hard to build secure interpreter since you're dealing with inputs that you don't control. Like the best example is PDF. I mean, PDF was used as an attack surface for ages, and Adobe keep patching the Adobe Reader because there are flaws found in the way they interpret the document.
Yeah.
Then you had all the backdoors and Pegasus malware on iOS that basically exploited the iMessages by sending the messages that would trigger something in the operating system and give it the control to the bad guys. Again, iMessages, they interpret something that comes from outside world. It's the same with your browser. That's a big attack surface. You open the website, you have no idea what the website is, and there could be a malware on the website trying to attack you.
Yeah.
Now we come into MCP.
Yeah. PDF. But by the way, do you know the maximal size of a PDF file?
Tell me.
You want to guess? Paulina? What's the maximum size of a PDF file?
Gigabyte.
Like,
no.
Not in gigabyte, in like meters. I would say kilometers.
That's not how I measure the files.
Okay.
10?
Yeah.
I mean, that's also not how I measure usually. But
Okay, if you said PDF size in meters or kilometers, what do you think it would be?
What would it be in Swedish miles, Matthias?
Swedish
to make
miles,
it even more confusing.
A Swedish mile, yeah, it would be around 40. It would be 381 kilometers.
Oh,
I think it depends on the font you're using, isn't it?
and how big is it? What spaces do you have between lines?
Like 10 gigs, I think.
Okay,
10 gigs.
10 gigs it is. So going back to MCPs, there was an interesting article published this week. There is a quite popular MCP server for GitHub. Before we go into that article, there is actually another thing I wanted to mention. So the way you should be thinking about MCP is very similar to the way you think about Docker images.
How do you mean with that?
You don't want to.
Yeah, basically with MCP, you're getting the piece of code written by someone from GitHub, and you run it on your local machine with your own privileges. and you give it some information that might include notifications. There is MCP for 1Password, for instance.
Wow.
So LLM can get your passwords and use them for one reason or another. So you don't want to run a random Docker container from the internet from the guy you don't know, because you have no idea what's there. The same with MCP. You should be very careful with what you're running, because you have no idea who built it. So if you are to run MCP, at least make sure it's from a reputable company.
Can we stop with this MCP? So how do you run your MCP? Is just you download a plugin? You're saying?
Well, today the way you run it is if you look at a JSON specification. So the JSON specification, the way how you describe MCP server, basically has a CLI command that you run. And most of the people nowadays run UVX, which is extremely fast Python package manager.
Okay.
We already have pip, PyTree, and all the Python package managers, but now we also have UVX, because, why not to have another one? Written in Rust, but it's apparently very fast. And that could pull packages for you and run them locally, or from the GitHub repository. And that's what usually happens. Your typical MCP definition will be when LLM asks MCP server, run UVX to pull that code, run it, feed the whatever LLM asks to MCP, get the answer, give it back to LLM. So you're basically running a random code on your machine on request of an LLM.
Okay, now I understand why it's like a Docker. So
it's pretty much like a Docker image. You're getting some code from someone and running on your local machine. If you're not accessing MCP via HTTP, again, but the same thinking, right? So you don't want to access some random endpoint without thinking what it is.
Wow.
Do you run it also in the isolated way as you do with Docker, or?
No, it's just run from SUR. I mean, you could run it as a Docker. So instead of calling UVX, you can write it call it as a Docker. Then it's a little bit better.
Yeah.
Since it will have less access to your
MCP
system.
in the Docker.
Yeah. Many people do, but not all the MCPs provide you with a Docker image, so you would have to do it yourself. I mean, it's wildly new field, and things are very raw and rough at the edges there right now.
It's still Wild West.
Yeah, it's very evolving very quickly. There was very little security in Docker, if whatsoever, when it just started. So the same is Jenkins, for instance. It wasn't built for the security. So you basically have a plugin system to extend the set of your tools. Now, going back to the article I mentioned.
Well, I can imagine where this is going. Right.
Yeah. So what they did is they have GitHub organization. And GitHub organization have a private repository and a public repository. Public repository is accessible to people. It's public. So attackers went in and created an issue in a public repository with instruction to LLM to grab private repository and put it as a context as a pull request to this repository. And what you get is when you run MCP and you ask, give me all the issues, MCP will go get the issues from GitHub and feed those issues to LLM. LLM reads the issues, gets the instructions, and starts executing them. So that's why you should be careful with MCPs. And I mean, I'm not saying you should not be using MCPs. I think they're useful tools. But when you do use MCPs, you need to use them for the systems that you're going to access with a controlled input-output. Right? So you don't want to read random stuff with MCP. Reading random stuff with MCP, not a good idea.
No.
And there are a lot of more trivial ways of attacking AI, LLM, the generative LLM.
But now I see the But it's like a beauty in like using LLM, like go over all our issues and then fix the one that are simple, right? That would be something that a lot of companies, wow, that's amazing. Like people can write issues, the AI will like resolve them, everybody will happy, and then you get the issue like this, right? And it's just
it's a very wide avenue for abuse that we want you to be aware of and choose wisely. So this field is developing very quickly. It's super interesting, and I mean, like LLM, especially ones with the tools like agentic LLMs that you run locally on your laptop, could be very helpful in many ways. Like as coding assistance, like Amazon Q is amazing when it comes to. Well, I shouldn't be saying amazing. I should say it's useful.
It's useful,
when it comes to investigations. So, like, if you look at it as your intern, who is like trying, you give it something, it's trying to figure out and give you an answer, but it's not you wasting your brain cycles on that.
But here we're coming to the insurance part. You're using, of course, QCLI to connect to your AWS account and do tasks for you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it needs access.
Yes.
Of course. So you need to feed it with, like, if it could be a secret, could be a key. Hopefully it's just like...
the way it works with Amazon Q, you can either tell it to use a profile, and then it would use instruction from your AWS profile setup.
Yeah.
But the simplest way is you just set up your environment variables using like AWS Vault or something like that, or AWS CLI, SSO, whatever you have. Then you have environment variables in shell, and then you just run QChat, and then the Q will be able to use your environment variables, your AWS key, to interact with your AWS account that is currently selected. We did that actually on the meetups this week. We are recording Friday, June 13th. So this week on June 11th, we had a meetup at Las Palmas user group, AWS user group, where we were playing a lot with Amazon Q, and I was giving a similar run there. But we basically asked it to investigate the issue. But then there was a question from the attendees asking, like, can it change things?
Yeah, exactly.
I just told it, like, well, Amazon Q, how about you go and scale that ECS service for me to 4 tasks? Like, it was like maybe it was 2 tasks. And it happily obliged. It just went and scaled it.
Wow.
So
I mean, there's also danger here, like if you're using that tool and then maybe you have an MCP that you use for something else, like and a funny thing is like coloring the text or something like that, or I don't know, fetching some other data, that would probably get access to the credentials. How would the LLM,
well, since you're running the MCP server on your local machine, it will be run with the same permissions as a tool that is calling it.
Yeah, so
it will have access to all your environment variable.
Yeah.
Be careful out there, people. Think what you're doing.
It's a new thing working. It's also like...
It's quite useful for debugging sometimes also. Because you can also use it in the console, like if something doesn't work, you can click and so on. So even management people sometimes can figure out what is quite useful. They don't come with every small thing.
Yeah. They are so useful. I mean, LLMs today. Do you remember the days when we didn't have them in IDs?
I remember days where we didn't have Google Maps.
Yeah. I didn't have it on my phone.
I don't remember that well.
Still, yeah, it was hard, like driving a car and having a book beside you, trying to.
But there used to be a GPS devices. I don't know which year was it, but that's what I remember as a kid, to have a separate.
They were expensive. They were quite expensive.
Okay.
And like before Google Maps, I had actually a job where I was like a serviceman for the cable TV and internet. And I had like the area of the city, which was completely opposite side of the city where I lived. I had like no idea, and they would give me address saying like go find that address and figure out what's wrong there. And you're going in like you have no idea. You have a map, and like okay, this street is here, that building is here, and then you basically run into idiosyncrasies of people, numbering the houses. You would have house number 55 on this end of the street, but house number 56 is completely opposite side of the street. Like not across the road. It's like beginning and end of the street. So it's like a couple of kilometers walk. It takes time, to get into orienteering. I cannot say I enjoyed that work a lot.
Time before the internet and the phones, right? Yeah, time before the LLM will probably be the next, my kids would say. I was born and didn't have LLM when I grew up. Now they have, but still.
Yeah, my 8 years daughter is using ChatGPT, no problem. Like when she's doing
my
homework.
15-year-old brother is writing tests with it.
Yeah, so it's coming fast. It's coming fast, and it's a good way. It's a good tool to help, but you need to be, of course, careful with it. This MCP sounds very promising for our line of work, connected to
How much
things
do
to
you
get.
see interest in it in the market? Because I see some organizations are panically scared of an AI. Some others are opposite. They're like, "Oh, give me all."
Actually, I'm still looking for the good use case for MCP, honestly. Like within my workflow, I cannot say that I am, AI first day adopter of AI, but still, like I'm using quite a bit of the tools, and I mean, like there is MCP for the GitHub, right? So it can. I saw one guy giving an example where he says, like, I can use LLM to summarize my commit and then use the commit pull request template and then create a pull request for me. But I can run the bash script and use GitHub CLI, and that will be actually more efficient from the computation perspective, and I will warm up the planet less because I do have the script like that basically gets all my changes and creates a pull requests and assigns people there and so on and so on. So.
Yeah, but couldn't you use it, for example, to get like data from the repositories, like how many are using Next.js this version, right? We have 400 repos. Go and fetch me and give me who's doing that, right? Or which could be used to get intelligence of a lot of data.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's like you have better ways of doing that. So, like usually your Git provider or like the Git hosting provider will already have some kind of insights built in where they use traditional programming to calculate that, which is more efficient and cost less to come up with. So
yeah. But wouldn't you build your own MCP for your like service? Like if I, as I said before, if I have all the recipes, like I'm a recipe database. I mean, shouldn't I have a MCP so that LLM can connect to my service and
I
get
think
the
you
recipes?
should, especially like for the search,
Yeah.
So we need to optimize the use, so it's more AI friendly, AI readable. There is like quite a bit of discussion like on the front end how they need to be machine readable, so it's easier for AI to navigate, so we can make it more efficient, because right now AI search is just killing that in many ways.
Yeah, because it's just doing the old stuff, right?
Yeah, I feel like they don't even have much of the caching or indexing. They just like each time you ask the question just goes and starts to query the internet.
Oh, yeah.
Like there were like a lot of reports of open source hosting projects that just say like we have multiples of traffic that we used to have. We have to pay for this traffic, and it's not very good. I think
it also has a golden fish memory, so
the search is also changing. It's kind of interesting, right? So it's incentive for the people. Like before that, you would have your website, you had incentive, of writing the good text so it could be found. Now, when that is not happening, what do you do? Like, will you put something out there?
It's also marketing is changing. Yeah, before it was SEO. I think reading about AEO. So like how how the models and LLMs can find you and what do you have to. And I started researching it a bit. Okay, what do you need to be able to be found by cloud, ChatGPT, or other models? Because it seems like it's going in this direction for leads generation and other stuff as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever.
We actually had an inbound lead coming through the search in ChatGPT. So he
Really?
found us through the search in ChatGPT. We were very surprised, but like if you need any signs of the search changing, that's one.
Cool. And
Nice.
then MCP will be in the foundation of this then, right? Where LLMs can connect to other sources like your own source.
Yeah.
Cool. I think with that, we're done for today.
Yeah, that was enough of talking for today.
Yeah. Thank
Great
you.
topic. Interesting. Very interesting topic.
Hope you
Very
enjoyed.
very hot topic currently.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. With that, thanks for tuning in.
For your summer holidays, or what have you.
Yeah, for me, this summer holidays, I don't know. The kids are home. It's holidays and holidays in
Enjoy your time with
mid-August.
kids.
Yeah,
Home.
free time with kids. See, some Sweden
It's
summer.
hot kids.
Yeah. Anyhow, okay. Take care. Thanks for tuning in.
You have been listened to DevSecOps Talks with Matthias, Andre, and Paulina. For notes and information, please visit devsecops.fm. Thanks for tuning in.